Hey everybody, happy Friday, TGIF. Man, it's been a busy week here in the shop. Uh, Friday, May 24th, 2024. So I've had a couple of new subscribers this week. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the new subscribers that have found the channel. And today we're going to talk about getting comments that I'm new to leatherwork and how do I get started. So it's kind of a loaded question. I'm going to break it up a little bit and talk about it. Um, I wish I had somebody mentoring me when I got started because it was just kind of like, well, if you're going to do this, then you need this tool. If you're going to, work with this kind of leather, you're going to need this machine. And you're going to, make these leather goods, then, it's necessary to have the, X, Y, and Z. And, a lot of it is not necessary starting out. I'm going to basically talk about. I wish I had known about the Leatherwork beginners kit, and I'm not affiliated with anybody, so I'm not going to leave links in my description. There's plenty of them out there. Just you guys can look online. They're nice kits. Be prepared to spend anywhere from $100 to $250. But there's a lot in the kit. The beginner's leather kit, I believe, is worth it because it's good exposure. There's a lot of tools. There's a lot of the basics that you do get. And, somebody that's just dabbling in it for a hobby, that's trying to just, pursue the craft, there's a lot of good basics in there that, can kind of get, your feet wet to know whether or not really the leather work is kind of your thing. I'm going to go over a list of what is in a basic kit, kind of more of bottom end, around the 90 to $110. These kits do get elaborate, like I said, anywhere from 110 to $250. I've seen them. And all these kits are new. You just buy it from the leather supplier that's selling it online. But yeah, so I'm gonna bring you on in here and show you what I got here. I'm gonna leave links in the description for a couple of these I've done past videos on. The items that I'm going to talk about that are in these kits. All right. So the first thing is a stitch groover, and basically there's this tool that you can move this piece and loosen it, and it sets the depth gauge of where you want to basically scribe a line. So here's a piece of leather. Get you guys down in there. So the edge of the eye, this round part goes down, and you just basically are setting it like so. surprisingly enough, this one is in backwards. Guys, I don't have any fancy camera work, so you know, if I make a mistake, you're gonna see it. And this tool is definitely set wrong. I'm gonna show you here in a minute. So I'm just using this small 7mm monkey wrench, and basically there's a set screw in there that's going to loosen that up. And now I got it set in there correctly. Okay. There's a recessed piece down in there that when you slide the groover bit in there, you'll feel it kind of bite in place. So now for an example, see, and then you get this like a little silly string here. And now I got a groove line here for my stitch. So once I get the leather wet now, it makes it easier for punching the stitching holes. And you know, basically it's going to be your guided line for you know, getting it straight when you're getting ready to do your stitching. So the next one I want to talk about is a scratch awl. So it's like a ice pick, just it's got a very sharp tip on the end of it. Again, this is for, you know, if you're, you know, wanting to just make a nice faint mark. You can see that that is very faint. Hopefully that is coming up in the camera shot here. And whether that's your pocket sleeve or whatever, you're basically, you know, you're gluing your other pleats on there, and then you're going to stitch over that line. So it's another tool to use to where, you know, you don't want a marker or something like that to mark your line on your leather material. You want something faint that once you spray this, it's going to fade away, that it won't show up on the leather. So the scratch awl, an art knife is in there. You guys know that, you know, my Japanese knife, it's obviously got all the writing on there. You can see that. But it's a nice thick sturdy handle to where I can really bear down. And if I'm cutting thick leather, you know, anything above 8-9 ounce, I'm using this. This is my go-to knife, guys. But like I said, you know, something like that, you need something sharp. Whether you're gonna go with something like this, you know, just an X-Acto blade, which these are nice because they have that extra blade that you can break off. And basically it goes in there like this. There's a slot on the back side. Let's see, once I can get it in there and line it up. And there it is, guys. That much of it comes off. So you don't need a new blade every time, but you definitely want a sharp blade every time when you're cutting. And that's all that it takes off the blade. You know, these little ones that go into the, you know, hardware knives and stuff, they're, you know, the blade, it's a 1 or 2 and done, where these long blades that slide in, you can just snap them off, and they're like a little serrated edge that it just breaks off that much of it to where you can use it. So something like this is handy, and I think there's something in there that comes like that. Diamond stitching chisels, 5mm. And reason why, you know, you say, why, you know, 5 is the distance between each tooth on the stitching chisel, which, you know, when you case the leather tends to open up, and once it dries, it tends to close back up. So you're running and poking your awl back through there just to get the hole open, to where I've noticed using a 5, you know, there's 3.8mm stitching chisels, there's a 4mm, there's a 4.5mm, you got the 5, and then the 6mm chisel. I've noticed where I'm using the 5, I can get my, you know, leather needles through there. And these come in a pack of 10, guys. 10, 20, 30. And they're not, you know, the, you know, needles that your mother uses or your grandma, where it's got a blunt rounded end. As you can see, maybe this is not very sharp at all. Okay. I know some people are using, like, you know, fabric sewing needles from, you know, fabric store, and, you know, getting needle stick injuries because they're not using leather stitching needles. So this is another one. And two, when you're, you know, pounding down your stitching, I've noticed that, you know, with a 5mm stitching chisel, it kind of really seals back up the holes and makes your thread look nice. The next one would be some white and black tiger thread. You know, V92 138 is kind of really where you want to be. I mean, yeah, it goes as low as V69, which is a real small thin thread for basic, like, you know, flatbed sewing machine, all the way up to, you know, you got your, you know, garden hose of 460. I mean, that using 460, that's you know, you're basically on a, that's like utility rope level. So the next is a pair of scissors. These are just a, you know, scissor snipper for your thread. You want to, you know, just trim off your stitching to, you know, zap it and burn it down. And then also pair of embroider sewing, not sewing, but embroider scissors for cutting the thicker leather. If you're dealing with the thicker material, these are definitely sharp enough to cut through that type of leather. This is just to cut your thread from stitching. So we got that there. I've covered that. The groover. A wood slicker is definitely in the kit. This is gonna, smooth down and slick your edging, make it nice and shiny when you put your conditioner or sheen or whatever on there, to get those edges to where they're nice and soft and you got a nice shine on your edges for your wallets, your belts, things like that. There's like little 1, 2, 3, 4 slots for different edges of thicknessing for burnishing. So wood slicker definitely is a handy tool in the kit. A maul or a hammer. This wooden hammer, guys, is like literally maybe 8 ounces, to where this one is it's about 2 pounds. And I've teaching leather class, students have said, well, Joe, why 2 different size hammers and one's heavier than the other? Well, with the one, obviously, you may just want to tap and make impression on the leather for your stitching. To where this you're gonna use and you're gonna hammer it through to actually stitch. This is just maybe more for marking, to where it's lighter, that you don't need that much weight or force, to where this you're gonna need something heavier to take the stitching chisel and punch it through to make the holes for the thread. I'm gonna share a quick story. I was in the turn you guys back up here. Maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was in supply and getting some material. Oh, again, this is my stitching pony. You guys can, I'll leave a link in the description to where you guys can take a look at this. This is quite extensive as far as on the scale of a stitching pony. We're talking like these things are in the kit maybe 9 inches tall, maybe 2 inches wide, and it clamps onto a workbench like mine. This is a foot in length, 2 feet high, and my clams here are padded with leather, just a 2 to 3 ounce leather, pigskin leather, with the screw bolt holding it in to tighten it and loosen it. Then I got it mounted here on another piece of board. So I'll leave a link in the description. You guys want to watch this? I kind of walk through step by step on how I built this. But definitely for hand stitching, this is definitely a go-to and a must-have stitching pony. So yeah, anyways, back to the story. I was talking to somebody in the leather supply store I was at, and just talking about stuff we're making, and customer walks in. He's brand new to leatherworking, and manager's like, can I help you with something? And he's like, looks over and he's looking at these sewing machines that are $2,000. And he's like, yeah, I'm new. I'm just looking to get sewing. And he's like, well, what are you doing? What are you looking to make? And he's like, oh, some wallets and stuff. And, you know, just kind of really seeing what, you know, I can make. And so he's like, well, you know, have you ever tried hand stitching? You know, he's like, you know, have you, you know, got the basics of, you know, how to, you know, hand stitch? And so he's like, oh, I watched some YouTube videos and whatever. And he's like, you know, not to steer you away from buying this machine. He's like, you know, go onto the marketplace on, you know, the internet and find you a used one. You know, it's like, you know, how true that is, because it's like, you know, it's like a customer walks into a Ferrari dealership, you know, and it's like, oh, I want to test out this Ferrari, you know, and see what it can do before I buy it, when really the customer can only afford, you know, a Kia Spectrum. You know, and it's like, my advice and suggestion is, you know, get the kit, get, you know, sew, hand stitch 40 leather products, and, you know, do different leather products, you know, do wallets, do belts, do, you know, stitch, you know, 5-10 belts, you know, 2-layer belts, and see if this is something you really want to do before you get, you know, $2,000-3,000 sewing machine. You know, that's just, you know, somebody that's just starting in as a hobby. Like, you know, yeah, you're a leather business like me, and then, you know, you're trying to, you know, push more, you know, product in production, then that's a different story. But for all the beginners on this video that have asked me, you know, kind of how to get started, that's my advice. So with that being said, guys, please like and subscribe, share this video, visit our website, michigancustomcraftworks.com. Sign up for our leather blog. We post articles there, free articles as well. All you need to do is enter your email. So this is Michigan Custom Craftworks, and I'm out for now.